dictate where he was going. He couldn't say what he wanted to do. He was led by hell itself. He could have went forward. He could have wanted to do something great for God. He could have said, you know what, I want to be one that stands in my generation. I'm going to be one that makes a difference. But the fact of the matter is, he had let so much in his life that he no longer had control. Kind of like what some of us are. Where our intentions never grow feet. They never walk. They simply talk. Where our desires never become demonstrations. Because we've allowed too much in our life. And some would feel, well, possession and demon possession. And let's talk about it for just a second. What does it mean I'm going to be foaming at the mouth? Does it mean that I'm going to be on the floor like the snake? What exactly does it mean? Let me break it down to you like this. It's hell's influence in your life. I'm not shaking. I'm not slithering like a snake. I'm not foaming at the mouth. Well, let me break it down to you, my friend. It's when hell's influence is in your mind. When hell begins to influence your thoughts above and beyond what you give control to God. Above and beyond what you've allowed God to do in your life. And you say, I don't mind going there. I don't mind doing that. I give up on this. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have what gives me pleasure. I'd rather find something that I like and enjoy that doesn't cost me anything. And it starts with just one thing. Just one song. Turns into the music video. Before you know it, you want to act like that. You want to dance like that. You want to move like that. You want to feel just like that. Just something small. Just, no big deal. No big deal at all. But before you knew it, Legion was controlled, and it all started at just one. What takes place? What happens? Watch what he does. Watch what it says. He wore no clothes. He wore no clothes. Have you ever noticed when you're away from the presence of God, when you substitute prayer in your life for pleasure, when you try to get Him out, you notice how what you wear starts changing? Oh, let's talk about it for just a second. Don't go there, Pastor Jonathan. That costs too much. That means too much. I'm sorry you wanted a youth pastor that would give you a Happy Meal. Find that on the next corner. I come to give you something that you can take home with you. Something that there's going to be leftovers that you can apply in your life. The way we dress begins to change. You can always tell when somebody has substituted prayer for pleasure. You can always tell. Things start changing. I'd rather do less. I'd rather give more. I'd rather show more. I'd rather let down and let loose. Oh, I know what I'm talking about. Because we allow ourselves to be controlled by something else. Maybe it's not complete. We're not completely controlled, but yet we're influenced in our mind. It controls the way we think. And when prayer is necessary, we'd rather chase something else. We'd rather substitute God. And that's what idolatry is, taking God from His rightful place and putting something else, and many times it's ourselves. Legion, it just started at one. I've got to ask you tonight, what's growing in your life? What is growing in your life? What is accumulating? What is growing in numbers? Is grace? Is mercy? Is love? Is passion? Is prayer? Is devotion time? Do you see that increasing? Do you see that multiplying? Do you see that adding? Or do you see a subtraction that has taken place in your life? And what you felt, you no longer feel. What you wanted, you no longer want, because something has taken place. Hell's good at math. It knows what to subtract from your life. It knows what to add, so that at the end of the day, the equation is too much for you. It's something you cannot answer. Notice, not only did he wear no clothes, not only did he take off some of the commitment. Hear me, I know what I'm talking about. Not only did he remove some of the dedication and the consecrations that he made, but the Bible said he didn't even dwell in homes, but it was in tombs. His life. And when you allow the influence of hell into your mind, into your heart, into your spirit, you will dwell amongst tombs. What do you mean by that? What exactly are you talking about, Pastor Jonathan? I'm talking about the dreams and the hopes that you once had dwelling among tombs. That's why your passion dies. That's why your hunger for God dies. That's why your devotion time dies. That's why your commitment to God dies. That's why your desire for more of Him in your life dies, because you're dwelling amongst tombs. And it all starts with just one. It all starts with just one. And what we could do tonight, it would be so easy. We could have kept the music going. We could have kept the jump. We could have kept the shout. We could have did all of that, and it would have been easy, and it would have been nice, and praise is always appropriate. But at some point in your walk with God, you have got to get rid of the things that are blocking, the things that are stopping, the things that are slowing down the flow of His Spirit in your life. You can clap all you want. You can dance all you want. But if there is no application, then what you have and what you are doing is having no effect. It's having no effect. And before you know it, that's how youth ministries die, Joshua. That's how they go from being effective to being entertainers. Just one thing. If I can make just one thing, well, if we would just do this different, if we would just do that different, what you are doing is just opening and inviting so much more into your life. And what started as a song becomes a movie. And what starts as a movie becomes reality. And before you know it, you find yourself lost. You find your dreams dead. You find yourself ripped, stripped, abandoned, left out of what you once saw yourself involved in. This is just real talk tonight. Legion, it just started at one. It wasn't even his name, Josh. He had been so consumed. There wasn't even a number of years. Why wasn't there a number of years? I would say, and this is not Bible, but I would say that some couldn't even recognize him. They didn't even know who he was. They didn't know where he came from. Nobody could recognize him. He was beyond recognition. He lived as an animal. His name was changed. His life was totally different than what God destined for it to be. Because he allowed something in. And hell knew what to add. It had washed his life, Elijah. It knew the history. It knew the English that he spoke. It knew the language that he taught. It knew how to get close enough to him to make an effect and an impact. If I can just get one thing in Motion's life, if I can just get one thing in Adrian's life, if I can just get one thing in a Hovita, if I can just get one thing in a Myrna, if I can just get one thing in a Sarah, if I can get something in Anthony and Titus's life, just one thing, I know I can add to it. And as I add, I will subtract. And after the addition, I will begin the multiplication to where Haley does not even understand who she is, to where Susanna doesn't even recognize herself, to where her name is changed Christiana, because it all starts at one. An equation you and I can't solve. But notice tonight, and I'm coming to a close. Notice tonight, even this man, without a real name, even this man who was possessed, who was ripped apart with passion that I'm sure he once had to be normal, the desires that he had to live and the things that he wanted to do. I'm sure at one point when he was younger, he wanted a family. I'm sure at one point, Anthony, he looked and said, I want to be powerful for God. I'm sure at one point, at one point in his life, he sat on a pew at Pulse and said, I sure desire something more in my life. But he allowed one thing. And the only thing, listen, those around him knew who he was, but they couldn't do anything about it. That's the animal, man. He's possessed. I've been there. Don't let your kids And the only time change came was in the presence of Jesus. It recognized even before he got off the boat. Wherever it was lying, wherever it was laying, wherever he was, he recognized the presence and the power of the one who was on that boat. He didn't wait for Jesus. Listen to me tonight. He didn't wait for Jesus to step out. But as they were landing, as they were coming ashore, as they were coming, he cried out with a loud voice. He recognized who it was. And Jesus, even at that point, listen, you talk about the power of God. You talk about the demonstration of His Spirit. You talk about what God is able to do. You don't even see Jesus get mad. You don't see Jesus get hyped up. He doesn't say, every devil in you, I'm going to rebuke you in my name. He doesn't say all of that. He dismisses them. Goes as far to honor their request. Tonight there are young men and young ladies here. Would you stand with me? Do not lose your focus. Do not walk out. Hear me. God's ready to do something in your life. There are people who there are things that have accumulated in your life. Hell's been adding things in your life, adding things in your mind. It started with music, Pastor Jonathan, and now I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know how I got this far. It started with just hanging out with friends, and before I knew it, I was dressing like them, and I was talking like them, and to be honest, I've been doing what they do, and I feel dirty, and I feel wrong, and I feel like I'm so far from purpose and so far from what God wanted me to do. And there are others where you're just like him, where you've been taking off the commitment, you've been destroying the consecration, you've been taking that which separates you, and you've been throwing it aside and saying, I'd rather have something else, and now you've lost control, and you don't know how it's going to stop or where it will stop, if at all. Tonight, you don't respond to a speaker. Tonight, you don't do what you do, whether it's walk out or walk forward and give yourself to Him again in honor of me. But He's coming ashore. And I want to know tonight, before you walk out, I want to know tonight, Daniel, I want to know tonight, Christiana, I want to know tonight. Is there somebody that would be willing to say, God, before you even get off the boat,